Hello, welcome everybody to my update on Z markets. And previous video I did speak about the potential of returning to 1 on USDT with 100% probability from past price action, and so we are here at 1. I do suspect we are going to go higher. However, let me outline the immediate course of action that the market may take, in the sense where we're probably going to bounce, right? And there is proof as to why that will occur, not only in the Tether dominance charts, but also in the price action charts as well. And let's just start with the Tether dominance chart, because that has been our source of truth so far. And before anybody asks me how is this like completely related to the actual markets, volumes, etc., and to simply just explain that what I'm doing on the Tether dominance charts with the fibs is nothing more than pattern recognition, right? I have identified a way to measure these charts in a repeatable way, and it gives me a statistical edge, which has been 100% so far. That's all. This has nothing to do with volume, Obviously, this is only one source of information, and you should use multiple sources in order to generate confluence, and that strengthens your conviction in decision making. However, let's move on. So every time we touch 1618, as presented previously in my videos, we always 100% of the time reach 1, not brush, like almost hit 1. We make contact with 1. Sometimes it will bounce like below 1 before coming and doing a clean touch. But what happens after that? What we find is that if we measure the extension from this high to this low, sort of how we measure golden pockets with 1618. Let me turn this into log. We will see that the bounce from 1 always reverts back to this golden pocket, right? I know this looks like a very quick move, which it is, onto the downside, but it does bounce back up to that gold box. Let's do, obviously this example here, there's a continuation, which is a different circumstance. And as mentioned in previous videos, it's not likely for us to do another extension to the upside, because it hasn't been done before. That's not to say that it will not happen, right? Because the sample size here is only, a handful of cases, right? So it's possible, but in terms of past history, it's not the most probable outcome that we have at our disposal. So let's have a look here. This touch at 1 for this larger move, right? It goes back to at least the 0618, 065 area before heading back down. Obviously, there's multiple touches around the 1 area here. It's a larger move. I keep explaining this in each video, but I'm just saying that so people can understand. I've already pre-measured this move here. It's the 0618 of this move, right? On 2 scales. It's actually a bit lower than that. Oh, sorry, wrong one. This high here. This is where I'm measuring it from. And to this low here. GP and GP main. Why I put GP and GP main is there's one high and one low and a larger low, but there's a swing in between, so you like to measure both. First, GP is target 1, GP main is target 2. Generally, you want to exit most of your position at GP number 1, because you don't know for certain if it's going to go to GP main, right? So this extension to 1, touch of 1, it goes back at least to the 0618 area. I think I've made my case here where when 1 is touched, we are likely to go to 0618. So now that 1 has been swept, it's been pinged, we are likely to push up to at least 4.29, all right, of the golden pocket region. And let me measure it out again. Oops, that's a little bit high. There it is. And there this is. All right, let me move this line, this green line down for everybody. So we want to see the market spring back into this GP area before heading back down. And if you haven't exited your positions already, I would recommend that well, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do with their money, but as I've explained before, I'm longing here, by the way, for full disclosure, adding to my positions, and going to plan on exiting majority of the positions here in terms of perps, not touching my spot. I do think that, you know, later in the market there will be opportunity to have a larger yield on altcoins in general, and I don't trade spot bags, I trade perps only, BTW. So now that we have that out of the way, let's have a look at the charts, because that is what people are interested in. Let's see here. We have on BitTensor a push right below the golden pocket. So it's a good place to start adding into the position with like a decent amount of edge, because we know that there's likely to be a bounce on Tether dominance, and we're hovering around a critical area for BitTensor. Something that is important here as well is that this level coincides with significant resistance flipped as potential support. Obviously we've dipped under a little bit. However, as the market you know, is reflexive on the way down, going back up, what is the expectation? And simply put, I've been using the same methodology over and over again. It's literally going to be the 0.618 on the opposite side. And this is what you'll find about my strategy. There aren't many trend lines that I'm like trying to follow and all that type of technical analysis BS. It's mostly just fibs, right? And if this rebound zone here has confluence with the rebound zone or the golden pocket of the Tether dominance, hopefully that's not too confusing for everybody because they're in reverse, they're inverse, then it's obviously a good place to sell, and buy orders can be put above these highs, obviously in smaller sizing, and you're clipping off like a 10% move in order to avoid a larger drawdown that we potentially will be seeing moving into, you know, September, as I've been saying over and over again. Right, now let's have a look at Mr. Bitcoin. And what we see with Bitcoin is confluence with the 1618 of the Tether dominance. You can sort of see the swing high, swing low. I'm gonna use this one for argument's sake, right? And also this golden pocket here. So we see, obviously there's going to be like some deviations off the level, but we also have to recognize that when you see these, this is how I like to draw things. So I don't need to redraw them. Between this white box and this gold box would be a perfect opportune time to start adding, and as you can see, we're bouncing already. And when do you add? Now would be a good time to add. That's why I'm making the video now, because when you buy now, you have a defined downside risk, and we also know that the upside is around here, potentially. Rebound zone 1 and rebound zone main, and whichever one of these levels has confluence with rebound zone or golden pocket of USDT dominance is going to be the level to be Thanosing your holdings, right? And that gives us a, well, if you entered at the line where the golden pocket is, it would have given you a good entry there. But you get a good, I don't know, 3 to 4R trade with, you know, a very, very good degree of confidence, right? Now we have not Solana, Ethereum, as mentioned in previous video as well. Expected this to sort of roll over at some point. I do now expect a bounce because of Bitcoin's positioning, Tether dominance, maybe to around the mid-level. And this becomes a lot easier for me to kind of like conceptualize now because I have a general direction bias on the market. But it doesn't mean you stop at stop at being bearish. There's opportunity here to, exit your positions and not panic sell, because it's obviously very easy right now to be capitulating at these bottoms and thinking it's going to go down, because that does look very scary. It looks like it's going to go down further. I do have bids for Ethereum at 3.26. Reason being is that this sits around the 1618 region for Ethereum, and I do think that it bounces up and then it bounces from this level at some point in time, as a very, very, nice, I guess, probability of a bounce, risking 1,000 there. What else we got? Doggy boy, Dogecoin. As mentioned in previous videos, 1618 on the Tether dominance pivot, matched up, paired up with the rebound zone, major rebound zones of a lot of alts. Watch the video and you can see every single one of those examples. And now the one level, there is confluence with the golden pockets of these coins. So now is a good time to start bidding some altcoins. Let me actually buy some Dogecoin. Might buy some for fun if it looks nice here. Yeah. So it might do that. And like that. Just a small amount. And just do that for the lols. May get stopped, may not get stopped, who knows? But I thought that would be funny to do just on this video live. Let's see. We probably see the same thing for Link as well. Actually, Link actually looks like it's held up a lot. You can see here for Link, we do the same measurement, 1618 for the level, swing high, swing low. You see that pair up, nice and sharp there. We had the 1618 rejection on the Tether dominance coincide with the 0618 rebound zone of Link. Got the 1618 there, and we don't even get to the log golden pocket. We get to the regular golden pocket pretty dead on from this wave upwards. So let me remove these lines, and you can see that there's the same overlap here between 1618 and the golden pocket as well, which gives it a bit of a nice region to bounce from. So definitely going to see a bounce, maybe high probability. Sorry, don't want to say definitely because I'll get in trouble. And actually, this, like, some charts have a cleaner level to be taking profits from, and you can see that this rebound zone here gives us an idea that the high of Link might come around this rebound zone, or it's a good place to take profit. And then this gap between here, no trade zone until it starts to break the highs, right? There's a high here, rebound zone, probably marries up quite nicely with the, what do you call it? Yeah, with the golden pocket here, yeah. But that's all cool and dandy. Let's have a think about what happens beyond this point. So once we hit around these levels, right, I'm just going to put it between here and here because we don't know exactly what there's going to be. It probably won't bypass this range, only because I know there's, well, we all know there's been a lot of activity there. People who have bought there will be trying to sell. People who sold there might be trying to buy, etc., etc. A lot of activity has occurred in the area, but once we reach that level, I do suspect there is a larger decline. Let's give it the average drawdown that we've seen throughout the market, besides this large 30% one. Let's say it goes down 20%, right, before it goes back up. Oh yeah, Hoshi Mama, that's pretty deep. Let's say it does a 20% down to here. That would be brutal. I'm not saying that it will. I can't predict that for certain, but that wouldn't be out of the question for the market to be going down that deep, right? But should it go that deep, I mean, wow, that would be a pretty large drop. Not out of character though for Bitcoin to go 20% down, and then we do our final march up to the $150,000 level as explained in my previous video. Maybe like in this drop there's like multiple waves, right? I'm not gonna just draw one line. See, it seems a bit silly like this. Maybe this gets there a bit quicker. Oh my gosh, I apologize. Right, something like that. It might be straighter, it might be bendier, who knows? But that is sort of what I'm seeing. I think like a good sweep of this level might be an interesting one, sub 98, to take out that liquidity. That would be very interesting before sending things a lot higher. This move down on Bitcoin, yeah, it'll be probably very painful for altcoins unless Bitcoin dominance starts to drop further. However, it's starting to look resilient actually, Bitcoin dominance, and I'm starting to align more with the YouTubers who've been speaking about Bitcoin dominance hitting the 70% region before making any substantial drop, but that's yet to be seen. We are at a critical kind of pivot point at the Bitcoin dominance, and I don't speak about Bitcoin dominance often enough, I think, but 0.786 is still a good level to be pivoting off for any asset, or sorry, any chart, right? So I wouldn't count it out as that being the top of Bitcoin dominance. However, if we see that drop and Bitcoin dominance does rise quickly, then I have bad news for the altcoins. Altcoins are going to take a bit of heavy damage going into the rise of Tether dominance if it were to do that. The optimal outcome here, and the most optimistic outcome, which I think that we would all be more in favor of, is measuring 1618 from this low to this high, and the price of all the markets start to rise instantaneously now, right? Let's just do it randomly like that. But that would mean we top in around September-ish, right? From a timing perspective, and that doesn't seem to align entirely with the 4-year cycle theory, etc., because that would be like earlier than October, but I could be wrong, right? I'd be happy to be wrong, because then bags pump, etc., and we all get to live happily ever after in crypto utopia, right? And then bear market starts. So red line would be the ultra optimistic point of view. Take some risk off at the golden pocket because there's a high probability of a reversal down into the green line. If we start to break upwards beyond the golden pocket, maybe above this region of BitTensor, this high here of like 440, that would be a better place of deciding, okay, this is time to start risking on again and await the journey to further upside. So I know that I've spoken about the relationship between BitTensor's chart and Tether dominance only because they have rhymed very closely. I'm going to take these little boxes off just so we can see. Taking a lot of people's time today because it's a Sunday. Here we go. Sweet. Perfect. So say, for example, it's funny how identical these charts are. Obviously, this extension on Tether dominance was not met by the same magnitude by BitTensor. Like, it would have been up here if it matched exactly, but it did make a lower high than this one versus this high or low for Tether dominance. So what I expect is something like this before doing that, right? And then down. Which would mean, and I'm not saying that BTC is not going to break past this high, like the liquidity could be rotated more to Bitcoin, to alts by that period. But what we could expect is something like this into the RZ, and then move down, take out this liquidity, and then move up like that, maybe to 1,000 or something, not sure. It's too hard to say for sure right now. Perhaps something like that going into October, November, right? Keep an eye out for these things. I guess the main course of action is the de-risking thing there, watching what the market does, and yeah, if it starts to roll over and push downwards, just wait, and I can make another video on what I expect the Tether dominance to drop to in a later video. But yeah, watch that area as it comes back up. If it does come back up, hold on to your horses, because that's going to be a big dump. Peace.